Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Manchester SEO podcast. Got David Kelly here today. Has a wealth of experience in sales and business ownership, and just tell us about it. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So for people that don't know you, tell us what you do and a bit more about it.
Okay, so I suppose from a business point of view, really simply what I try to do is help business owners to build businesses that work for them rather than feeling like they're working for a business.
Okay.
We all know lots of those people that they'll work, 12, 14, 16-hour days. They'll be doing that 5-6 days a week, and they're doing that for 20, 30, 40 years because they never find a better way.
Right.
And so one thing I'm passionate about is helping people to build those businesses that give them the life that they want to have rather than feeling like, I've got to go to work today, I can't go on holiday. My partner's on it because we've not been on holiday with the kids, and it's just like they've created a monster, and the bigger it gets without sorting out the strategy and what it is that they're doing in terms of sales, the more difficult it gets to overcome it. Okay. So I suppose in terms of background, really, really quickly, I went to uni, came out, did a sales job, did that for a year selling photocopiers, got ripped off on a deal for £250,000 because it was a small company I was working for. Thought I'm never going to do that again. Went to the biggest company in the world in office supplies, worked for them for 5 years. Did relatively well compared to those around me in that environment. Followed the sales director to a local business. Did that for 4.5 years. Thought I could do that myself. Set a business up myself. Did that for 8 years. Exited that business, but during that 8 years, I started to fall out of love with that.
Right.
So much so that it got to the point, even as a salesperson, it got to the point where I was winning new clients, and then walking out of the door, I'm thinking, I've got to onboard them now. And that basically meant I had to phone the office for 5 minutes. I had to go online, fill in some things. It took about 15 minutes, and it was like it was a chore. Yeah. And I wasn't enjoying it anymore. And at the same time, when that was happening, what I was doing some sales consultancy with people that I'd met, generally clients and friends, and I was going to say family. I don't think I've worked with any family. But I'd sat down with them, gone through their sales strategy, and they're like, oh, well, can you help my sales team with this? Or we're struggling to generate leads, or we're struggling with this certain objection. And I started to run things in businesses, and I found that I really, really enjoyed those light bulb moments that people had off the back of the conversations that we were having. And quite often what I found was it wasn't necessarily something that I was saying that was groundbreaking. It was something that they already knew, but it was just all in the wrong order. And it would help sort of get themselves out of their own head, get it onto paper and go, well, that's how we can take this forward. And it was making a massive difference. Right. So we started to do that within businesses as well. I consulted at a payroll company. We're doing 1 day a week. We managed their sales team. They were valued at £6 million. They wanted to exit for 8 million. That's a proper first world problem to have. Yeah. So they were valued at 6, wanted to exit for 8, and they ended up exiting for over 10 million. After 9 months of me being there, we were working 1 day a week managing their sales team. And all we basically did was took the sales director out of the things that were happening day to day. So the value of the business went up because the sales director didn't need to be there. And we built in some automations into the lead magnets and the onboarding process that meant there was less need for interaction from one of the sales team. So for the potential buyers that were looking at buying them, it suddenly became a lot more attractive because it was a lot more profitable for a lot less time. And I thought, I love doing that. But at the same time, I have my kids Wednesday through to Saturday each week. I pick them up from school. That was like a non-negotiable that I wasn't going to take on another client. Yeah. I had 2 clients, a Monday and a Tuesday, managing their sales teams. I was also running my supplies business on the side as well. On the side, that was my main business. But and I didn't even want any more clients. So at that point, I was getting referred into people. I'm like, well, I was putting them off because I've not got the time to work with you. And I was working with a business partner that really wanted that work. I'm like, mate, I am not your guy now because those 2 clients are enough for me. And I was always conscious that I was growing their businesses, but I was alienating growing my own when I was consulting. So I wanted to build something to like give me the life that I wanted to live, but enable me to have a lot more impact on the world. So I built 2 different sales. I say I built them. I don't do any of the building of anything. I had 2 different sales platforms built. Didn't like the functionality of either of them. Didn't even release either of them because I thought I wouldn't pay for it. Right. And then the more I was speaking to people, there was this fascination with leads. And everyone I seemed to be speaking to was talking about leads in businesses and needed to generate more leads and blah, blah, blah. Yes. And there's this sort of misconception in business that if you have a infinite number of leads, you would close an infinite number of sales. Now, I know that is not true, but people think that it is. So I thought, well, if I could build into a system that we were trying to build to make sales more simple, a functionality to help them to solve the problem that they think that they've got, which is the leads problem, I can help them with the problem that they've actually got, is that they don't know what to do when they've got a lead. So ultimately, that's where we started. We built a lead generation system into our overall platform, which is a full-on functioning CRM that makes sales and marketing much more simple. Our best performing lead magnet, we give away free leads. People jump on a call with me. I generate them free leads in real time. But then I get to ask them the question, just out of interest, what are you going to do with those leads I'm sending you now? And they all say the same thing. I'll probably email them because everybody's lazy. I go, great. What are you going to do when they don't email you back? And then everybody says the same thing again. They go, maybe try again in a week or a month. And at that point, they're already asking for advice. And what it highlights is they don't know what they're doing when they've got the leads.
Right.
But then it gives me the opportunity to say, well, if you had a system that once you've generated the leads, you could put them into someone's automation so that you were nurturing those leads. And at the point when they were ready to buy, you already knew, would that help you do more sales? They go, yeah. I go, great. Let me show you how Sales Union works. So that's where we're at today. So we've built the system out. We're constantly building and innovating into that system to bring all the different pieces that you need for an effective sales and marketing strategy into one place so that everything talks to each other and helps you to maximize the conversions that you get.
Okay.
So long answer to a really simple question. But,
yeah, I mean, there's so many questions there. But it's fascinating, the workings of businesses when you increase the number of leads and how they're dealt with can be really different, and from our point of view, you're increasing the relevant traffic. You can see that because the keywords that you can see people are coming to their website for, but there's no more conversions, or then so you have to go, okay, well, where are the emails going to, who's picking them up, what's the process? And for me, that's the easy bit. The hard bit is getting the people there, but then the easy bit, it's not working either. How do you have a business when you're not?
Yeah, do you know what? Really interesting. A few months ago, I had a meeting with an accountancy firm, big accountancy firm, turn over a good few million quid. And I was sat there with the head of sales and the head of marketing. And I'd booked the meeting through the head of sales because she was passionate about making the sales more simple. Yeah. Because the leads weren't very good that they were generating. The marketing was coming from a different angle because he thought, we're generating loads of leads, it's great. So anyway, he sat behind his laptop with the spreadsheet open of all these different figures and stuff that he's come up with. And I said, how many views have you had on the website? Like, we were talking about loads of stuff. How many visits have you had to the website in the last month? He went, well, I've got all the stats here. He went, we've had 4,000 and odd. I was like, okay. I said, how many leads have you generated from that? And he said, it was something like 46. And I went, so you've had like inquiries from people, 46 people from 4,000 odd page visits. He said, yeah. I said, that's actually not that bad based on what a lot of websites are like. And he said, yeah. And she went, but most of them aren't leads, are they? And I was like, so I'm sat there, I'm in the middle now. And he's gone, well, they are. And she's gone, they're not. A lot of those people are just coming on the website and it comes through as a lead, even if they just want to apply for a job. And they're feeling like a form to say, there's a vacancy or whatever. Yeah. So anyway, he's got his laptop there. And I'm going, you've got all the stats there? He said, yeah. I said, what other stats are you tracking? And I looked and I went, is that the figure there for the number of page visits? He said, yeah. I went, let me have a quick look. And it was 44,000. Like, he'd missed out for zero. I'm like, that's what he went, oh, wow. No way. And I went, firstly, you're doing well to get so many visits, but they've got a blog and they post regularly on this blog and it generates lots of traffic. I was like, that's brilliant. Yeah. The problem is it's not converting to leads at the moment. And this was like the marketing guys going, we're doing all this amazing stuff on this blog and it's generating all this stuff. The lady in the sales is like, well, it's not generating any leads. But the thing is internally within that business, because he's not talking to her about that and she's not talking to him about that, there's no synergy and it's not working. Yeah. Because they're not getting the foot through the door. And the funny thing is, of those 44,000 people that visit, or if you've got a business and you've got a website and there's 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever, none of those people are visiting that website are visiting it for no reason. They're going because there's some sort of thing that they are interested in. And when you've got such low conversions from people visiting to out of data that you're collecting or leads that you're actually generating, all it is that you're not, the outbound marketing that you've actually done or whatever it is that you've done to get into the website, the messaging can't be congruent with what they're coming to the website thinking they're going to find to what they actually find. And that's the bit that's really important for me. And obviously this is your world and the SEO side to get people there and start to generate the leads and the traffic and stuff. But what's really important for me on the outbound marketing is, what is it that you're pushing out? You've got to sell some of the thing that they think they want before you can give them what they need. So when you're marketing, sell them the thing that they think that they want, get them to the page, but that has got to be congruent with the same messaging that you've already delivered. So if you're saying you're going to give them this amazing result and they go to the website and it's a homepage, there's 100 pages and they don't know where to find anything, that's why people click off. So like I talk in the language of funnels. So like if you if I've got some outbound marketing talking about an amazing result I could deliver for a recruitment company in Glasgow, when they click through, that needs to talk about recruitment companies in Glasgow and how they're going to get that amazing result. And that's where you start to convert so much more, because when they're coming, they're getting the thing that they want rather than being directed somewhere. And they're like, I don't even know where to find the thing that I want. So it's just...
I'd love to look at their stats and see what they're getting traffic for, because if they're only getting that many leads from that much traffic, it can't be anything to do with the service they provide.
Yeah.
It might be a bit of news or, income tax change in 2006 or something like that.
Yeah. I think there's a massive divide between, obviously, there's good and bad in everything, first off. But a lot of web designers are looking at building something that looks good. But something that looks good doesn't necessarily convert really well. Yeah. Now, I never will be a web designer. Like, I could not literally from scratch. I mean, I could physically build a website because you can do it within our system. Yeah. But I would not go, right, I can build you the best looking landing page ever. What I could do is build something really quickly that if I am involved in what the outbound marketing is saying, that when people visit it, that is more likely to convert in terms of generating the leads that we can actually then contact in the future. So it's there's a lot of businesses that I've dealt with and spoken to in the past, and there's just the person that's advising them on the website is also the person that they think is advising them on the leads, and it's not the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Bringing it back to you a little bit. So you went to university. Yeah. Where did you go? What did you do?
So I went. Do you know what? I went to Leeds. Yeah. But I was always going to be in sales. I was never. I was one of them. I had a tuck shop at school in competition with the ice cream van and stuff like that. I was always going to be. I was making about 40 quid a day when I was like 12, and like most money I've ever made. So I was doing that in school. I was always going to go into sales, and it got to our A-level results day, and I had a video camera recording everyone getting their results. Oh, wow. Just because I was a bit of an idiot. Yeah. And I didn't really care. I'm not saying I didn't care. Like, I wanted to do well and stuff like that, but I knew it wouldn't make any difference to my life. Sure. Because it wasn't like I needed to get a certain thing to get a certain degree to get a certain job. Right. Anyway, I got my results, came out, and I was like, right, what are we doing? Are we going into town? The school was in Manchester. And everyone, all my mates were like, oh no, I need to speak to this, and I've got to go through clearing, and I'm moving to here, and I've got to find a house. I'm like, what are you talking about? Everyone I was speaking to was going to Leeds. Oh, okay. And I was like, what do you mean you're going to Leeds? And I just hadn't like, up until that moment, it was just like, it was years away. Yeah. And they were like, no, in like 2 months I'm moving to Leeds. Yeah. So I was like, going around the playground, everyone's like moving to Leeds. I'm like, what am I going to do in 2 months?
I'll do something about this.
Yeah. So I went and spoke to the head of economics, because that was the bit that I enjoyed, the business bit. Okay. And he said, yeah, well, let's speak to the uni. So anyway, I had a teacher there, and he called Mr. Moynihan, and he filled out my UCAS application and did all that stuff for me. Oh wow! Because he said to me, never close the door, like keep the door open. So and I wouldn't fill out the stuff. He's like, listen, I need you to fill this little bit out. I'll do the rest. I just don't want you to like miss an opportunity. Anyway, yeah. So I'd done well enough for my A levels anyway. Yeah. I had a call within 20 minutes with the head of business school in Leeds, and then that was it. I got accepted, and then I was like, lads, we're going to Leeds. So yeah, I did economics at Leeds. So I was there I lived in Leeds for 4 years. I was back pretty much every weekend, but yeah.
Good city, Leeds.
Yeah, I mean,
the Yotley Run and all that kind of stuff.
It's the only place I know. Yeah, you could sat in Headingley on a Tuesday afternoon, and suddenly the Smurfs walk in, and then the Beatles follow them behind, and there's a hot dog behind. Like, yeah, crazy place.
So you had fun at Leeds?
Yeah, really good. Yeah. See, I mean, I was going to say it seems like a long time ago now, but it's because it was. So it's nearly, what would it be now? I left there 18 years ago. 18 years ago.
Having not had the plan to go, do you think it benefited you going, career-wise?
I'd say it'd be a stretch to say it's benefited me career-wise. Just because, like, every 2 or 3 years I'll talk about price elasticity of demand, or I suppose demand and supply is a primary thing, but the fundamental things of economics that I might use in my day-to-day I already knew from school.
What about the soft skills, though, for sales and getting to know people?
I'd say, I mean,
living away from home.
The thing is, I was living away from home, but with 15 other people that I'd gone to school with. Yeah. So, like we joke about it now. My closest friends now, like my kids' godparents and best men now. I got engaged a couple of months ago. They're people that I've known since school. So we all joke now. None of us have really got any friends from uni.
Yeah.
We didn't make friends and then keep those relationships after.
Right.
We had friends on courses and stuff that we did, and on Facebook you'll see an update from them and stuff like that. But there's no one that I'm in regular contact with from uni. Just, and I know some people get loads from uni and they need it. For me, the biggest thing that I can sort of recall from that experience in terms of getting the degree was that when I went to get the job for the biggest office supplies company in the world, which is where I was going after I'd been ripped off on that big deal, I nearly didn't get that job because they thought I was overqualified to do a sales job because I had a degree.
Okay.
So it was, I almost, and obviously that, and then the training I got from there, and then the learning on the field sales bit and being out and about, those experiences I think have made a massive difference to what I am today. But I nearly didn't get that. And I had to sort of convince the guy, again, I remember the regional manager, I had to convince him that I wasn't overqualified for a sales job because he thought it wouldn't be, he used the word, it wouldn't be engaging enough for me just because I had a degree.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
well, it's funny that because I kind of fell into recruitment and their requirement was that I needed a degree. Yeah. Along with every other kid my age at that time.
It's funny with recruitment. Has anybody not fallen into recruitment? Is anyone that sort of
no one ever
thinks,
goes, I'm going to
want to be a recruiter?
Yeah. It's a good way of stopping a conversation at a party and ask you what you do for a living. But and then you obviously had the idea of going into sales. What was it about sales that attracted you, do you think?
So in terms of a job and sort of career, the main thing that attracted me was when I came out of uni and needed to get a job, for me the crucial thing was it needed to be field sales because I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to have a car that I didn't need to pay for. That was like the crucial bit. But I sort of wanted to be in control of what I was doing. So whilst you'd be targeted and you're accountable to the figures and stuff that you're hitting, but I never wanted to be someone sat in the office literally just on the phone. I wanted to be out and about. And the big thing for me on the field sales side, over and above any other type of sales, was that when I go door to door, which is what it was, all my business was built from knocking on doors, going door to door, B2B, never B2C.
Okay.
But I'm walking through business at the doors. You can tell whether someone is telling the truth or they're not telling the truth in person. And no one's ever rude to you. On the phone, people will be rude to you all the time because you're not there. And I don't know, it's a misconception, I think, so when I speak to people about it now. They think that if you walk through the door in their office, they're going to tell you to get out. And nobody tells you to get out. Quite often they're happy to see someone that's different. And I found being in there and I could see what's in the office, it made it much easier to close sales because I can see who I'm competing with, who they're already using. I can see, there was a really quick story. I went into there were hair extension beauty brand, really well known one, but they're in this really, really small unit in Ancoats in Manchester. Walked through the door, this tiny little thing, and I'd been introduced to this guy, to be fair, but I'd gone in and they were spending about 100 quid a month on office supplies, that was all. There was 5 of them in the team. Anyway, I've walked in, there's massive boxes, big brown boxes all over the place. So I'm sat down with him, he's saying, we buy this. And I'm like, do you tea, coffee? He went, we get 1 tin every 4 months or something. I'm like, great. Anyway, he's finished all. I said, anything else to tell you? But no, I said, just have interest, what's in the boxes? And he said, that's our mailing bags. He went, do you do them? I went, yeah. I went, we didn't, but I think we can. I said, well, what are they? So we went and got them, the pink bags with gold writing on. Right. I went, you must order lots of them. He went, oh yeah, when we order them, there's like 50, 60, 70,000. Like we go, if you could help with that. I went, what's the biggest challenge you've got with supply at the moment? And he said, it takes about 3 months. I went, okay, that's interesting. He went, well, how much faster would you like it? He went, well, faster than 3 months would be amazing. So I went, great. So I came out. We had a special service within our team, so I spoke to the guys in specials whose job was it to go and source new products. I said, I need these mailing bags. This is the micron of the bag. This is the sizes, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, got the prices. I managed to save them 20, 30% on the cost, but cut the lead time by 6 weeks. Right. So anytime those guys placed an order, which was £100 a month account on the face of it for office supplies, they'd spend £30,000, £40,000 per order. Right. And that was like, my average order value in the business was between 100 and 200 quid. Yeah. And they were doing 30 or 40,000. And if I hadn't walked through the door of that office and I'd said, let me just do a Zoom call with you, or just phone him to try and save him a bit of money, I would never even have been able to identify that. Yeah. So for me, the field sales being in the door helped me to make those observations and obviously be able to
find out what the challenges are and provide a solution.
Yeah. And it's like effective sales is asking the right questions. It's not having the right answer to everything. People talk about having the gift of the gab and stuff like that, but I always think 2 ears and 1 mouth. Ask the right questions that will help those clients, prospects to identify the need that they've got.
Yeah.
And then all you need to do is fulfill the need that they've got. And you're building a good relationship where they're going to want to work with you. If you have to try to overly sell, sales is always going to be difficult. But like before we started today, we were talking about value a little bit. You mentioned it. Value. I say value is one of the things I talk about all the time. If you focus on adding value, sales becomes really, really simple. If all you're doing is trying to sell, sales is super difficult.
Yeah. When you go to a networking event, you go to one and he says, hands up if you're here to buy something or whatever, or sell. And he says, stop selling. It's not, find out about each other, and build some relationships. And then we all know, every one of us has at least 500 connections, and we will refer, build rapport, build value, give value to the group, and it'll pay you back handsomely.
Do you know what's really interesting? People are scared of the word sales and they don't want to be associated to it a lot of the time, especially if you're running a business or doing something different. I've spoken at loads of different events, and I've done this so many times. I'll say, who here would say they're a salesperson? Show of hands. Any room you're ever in, there's always less than half the hands go up.
Yeah.
And they're at a networking event. It's like, okay, hands down. I'm like, okay, different question. Put your hand up. If one of the reasons that you are here today is to generate inquiries for the business that you represent, suddenly all the hands go up. I'm like, sorry to break it to you, you're all in sales. But because you tell yourselves that you're not, like you make this big thing about sales being really, really difficult, and you're being really pushy, and this is like used car salesman sort of thing, like sleazy person, like trying to sell someone something that they're not, that they don't want. And all that they do is they end up turning themselves off, making themselves think that they're not very good at sales, and that anything to do with sales, they're in like a cold sweat, like, I don't really know, I don't want to be involved, do I want to do this, I don't really want to do that. And like, just add value, think about what it is that their problem is, help them understand that you've got a solution to that problem, and suddenly they want to know more about it anyway.
Yeah.
The more you just say, I've got this thing, like if I'm not hungry and you're trying to sell me those brownies, as good as they look, like, I don't want one of the brownies, mate. And all that's going to happen is, in the end, I'm going to be like, it's not the thing, I'm not going to be annoyed at the brownies. I'm going to be annoyed at you for continually trying to push the thing on me. It's just the people just focus on the wrong thing. And it's just, if you think about who's your target audience, has to be the starting point of everything, and go, right, what are the challenges that they've got in their lives? And if you know what their challenges are that they have got either in their lives or in their business, and you can link that to a solution that you have got, all you need to do is talk about that thing and let people understand that you are the person that can solve that problem for them. Now, if they've got that problem and they want you to solve it, amazing. Like, they will let you know. If they don't, but someone else that they meet has that problem, suddenly they go, oh, I met this guy actually, he might be able to help you with that. It's not that you're trying to sell them something, it's like, I've got a solution to the problem that you've got.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be daft for someone not to want to know about it, but the more that you push it on people, the less likely they are to actually go, yeah, I want that. So
it's funny. I remember talking to a guy who was a friend from university. We were at Lancashire Cricket Club, and I spent years in sales trying to get out of sales. I couldn't cope with it. It's the repetitive things that my brain doesn't deal with very well. Being on the phone all day and calling, I couldn't cope with it. But the deals I did, they weren't as many, but they were bigger. And I was always trying to work out a better way of doing it. And I was talking to Ed, and he's saying, well, everything's sales. And he was running his own business. And I was like, it's not though, is it? So we had this conversation about it, similar to what you say. And then you start to run your own business and you realise that everything, your brand, everything, every touch point with your customers or partners or staff is all sales. Whether you're trying to sell an idea, your business or a service or anything. And it's so important. I think the word sales and that I'm in the sales role is kind of taken away from actually, what's it all about? And there's a guy called Steve Likovich who I always nick his quote about it. He said, it's just have a good conversation. So it's all about having a good conversation.
I know Steve.
Yeah.
He put a post on LinkedIn the other day and I commented on it, and he said, I think he put below it, and I didn't know that was a quote that he says. He said, next you're going to tell me it starts with a conversation. I think he wrote. Check it. This is probably on Wednesday this week. Yeah.
Well, he's a well-connected guy, so I can imagine.
I say to everybody, everything starts with a conversation.
Yeah.
So when you talk about networking events and stuff, people go in there and you're just trying to sell your thing to somebody. All that's going to do is they're going to go, I can't wait to speak to somebody else. Just like have a conversation, find out what it is that they do, have a bit of. You can make sure you are not going to do business with anybody really quickly at a networking event.
Yeah.
Or you can make sure that the doors are open with everybody in the room.
Sure.
Like for the future. It's like, which would you rather go at? And all it is, people don't learn how to do it.
No.
And it's like, there's very little that any of us are good at in life that we've not put any time into actually learning.
Sure.
Living in networking's obviously similar to sales.
Yeah.
But sales is one thing that, unfortunately, a lot of people won't put any time into getting any better at.
Yeah.
Like you start a business up, you think, right, what do I need? I need a logo. So you get a designer to do it for you, whatever. You go, you need some legal advice. You're getting it from a solicitor. You need, your tax advice. You go to an accountant.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of businesses, they won't go to anybody to help them with the sales at all. Like sometimes they'll go out of business before they'll go to someone to help them with it because they think their passion for what it is that they have built and created should be enough. And if they can't translate that to their clients, which means money coming through the door, they think it's them. And it's just a sad thing, really, that people think that they should have the skills to close the amount of business that they need, when like there's nothing in life that anyone is good at until you learn. Everything is difficult until you make it easy. At one point, none of us could walk or talk or eat or anything, and at some point, you've took the steps to help you with it. You don't have a baby, you're not walking, and the parents aren't going, oh, they're just not a walker. We're not going to, they'll just crawl the rest of their lives. No, you need someone there to help you on the right path to do it. And it's the same with absolutely everything. So yeah, it's one little bit obviously I'm passionate about within sales, and I don't do any of the one-on-one stuff anymore. But our clients get access to obviously the stuff that we can help them with on group calls and stuff like that. And we have 24/7 live chat within our system for the fundamental things that people need support with. But yeah, if you want to get better at something, you need to put time into it.
Do you have any advice for a business owner on simple steps to think about or to enact to improve on their sales and what they do?
Yeah, so really simply, starting point, who's your target client? Like in as much detail as you possibly can. Is there an age range? What sex are they? Where do they live? What type of business are they in? As much detail as you can possibly get, and then list all of the different challenges that they've got in their life. So like it might be, I don't know, a woman that's got kids that's between 30 and 40 that lives in Cheshire that drives a certain car, and it's like different avatars of different, you might have different ones, or you might have one like that's the only sort of type of person that I deal with. List all the different challenges that they've got in their life, even if it's something you can't possibly help with. So it might be like they might be overweight, or they don't like the husband, or like they want to go on more holidays. It could be stuff to do with the business where they want to take on more staff, they're working too many hours. List all the different things, and alongside the different challenges that they've got, start to write down the solutions you've got to those problems. And really, it's like a 15-minute exercise. You will start to find solutions that you have got to multiple problems. And then what I do is go, wait a minute, we've got this solution, and it'll solve that, it'll solve that, it'll solve that, it'll solve that, it'll solve that. And suddenly like that is like the sexy, most grand slam, like however you want to frame it, that is the thing. And suddenly you've just got to create lead magnets to show people that you solve that problem.
Right.
So create lead magnets that will get traffic to what it is that you do. Ideally, for me, give away that free value. I say to everybody, give away the secrets, sell the implementation. Show them that you can solve that problem, and naturally they will want to know the next thing that you can do to help them. What most people do, and SEO companies do this really badly, because it's seen like a bit of a dark art, and we spoke about this before about how SEO companies think that the
black magic.
Yeah, and you said before about what you do, and you show clients exactly how they get the results that they get, which is why they buy into you. If you at the front end went, this is how we do what we do. Like, come onto this webinar, let me show you how we do what we do so you can do your own SEO. So I'm not trying to sell you anything. If people want better results and they want to get more optimized on Google and they want to generate more leads, whatever the challenges are and the things that they want to solve, you're taking all the friction away because you've not charged them anything. You're showing them how to do it themselves. Let's say you get 10 people on that webinar. A couple of them might go, I'm going to do all those steps and I'm going to do it. And it's going to be complicated. A couple of them might go, I'm going to try and do it. Okay. There might be a couple of people that go, do you know what? That sounds a bit complicated. I don't really want to do it. I'm going to try something else. There'll be a big chunk of them that'll go, do you know what? That sounds good. They really know what they're doing. But I've not got the time to do it myself. How do we work with you going forward?
Sure.
Now, those people aren't going back to market to try and find someone else to provide them SEO because you've delivered all the value. And that's where I think businesses get it wrong. So look at the solutions that you've got, the most appealing solution that you've got to the most amount of problems, and then frame that in some sort of lead magnet that you can give away to help people to understand that you can deliver ridiculous amounts of value. And the more value that you deliver, naturally people go, well, what else can you do for them? What else can you do? And a lead magnet, really simply, is a complete solution to a narrow problem.
Yeah.
So it's that narrow problem you can solve by doing X, Y, Z. They follow those steps, they get the result, but then it gives you're in their world. Then you can say, most of our clients that want that result, they also want this. Or once you've done that, you will need this. and it takes you on a logical path. And getting away from what we said before about going to a website and having 100 pages and you don't really know to find the thing you want. A funnel will go, right, I've directed the person that wants this particular result. This is how you get that result. The next page takes them how you get the next bit and the next bit and the next bit and the next bit. So you take them on a logical path rather than just expecting somebody miraculously to come to your website and find that one page that you've got hidden somewhere that they can't find.
Well, that's it, and Google or other search engines as well. They don't like that. You have to get the most important parts of that you want your visitors to see as within as fewer clicks as possible, and really clear to get to, and that will on its own improve your conversion rates and traffic.
Yeah, I talk about like you've got to convert like the traffic you've got coming in. What you need to do to be most effective is convert traffic that you're paying for to traffic that you own.
Yeah.
And if you've got those lead magnets or places that you're directing them to that add some value, that gives them something that they want to access, that then you're collecting their data, that means that you're able to market them or do whatever you want to do with them in the future without potentially having the same people visiting the site over and over and over and over again, coming from wherever, and it's costing you money every single time to not deliver them a result.
Yeah.
So it's just like I said, anything that if you put time into looking at it and going, right, this is where we are at the moment, we would like to get to here, and then just logically look at it and go, well, what are the things that we could potentially do that will help us to solve those problems? Those are the types of things that we help our clients to build out, because we're all limited by, obviously, knowledge that we've got, software systems and stuff that we've got access to that limit us in certain ways, companies we've worked for, the people that we allow to influence us in terms of what they think is possible. Whereas what I find with my clients when we're talking to somebody, every single time I say to them, before we have like an onboarding call or anything, I say, if you had a blank canvas right now, before we have that call, what I want you to do is map out what you would want your process to look like from the point that nobody knows anything about your brand or your business or you, to the point that you actually get them on as a client, the aftercare, like the nurture in between, like what are all the different things that you would like to have in place, whether you think they're possible or not. Let's map what that journey would look out for an ideal customer experience. And when they do that, they will always look at it and go, I'd love to do that, but it's not. They'll go, it's not possible. I'm like, why is that not possible? Now, obviously, every now and then there's something that is not possible. But honestly, 99 times out of 100, the things that people think would be the amazing customer experience are so easy to actually build into your process. And it's just that most of us have got, 5 or 10 different software platforms for different things. None of them talk to each other, so it makes it impossible.
Yeah.
So that's what we try to help people with. So it's like, well, that can talk to that, then that can do that. As soon as that does that, that triggers that does that. And it's all these automations that go on in the back end that means like your lead gen, your lead nurture, and all those different types of things are being done for you to maximize the results that you get at the back end, which is the qualified leads and clients that want to come and actually start using your service because you've got all that set up.
And that's the software that you have.
Yeah.
So what's the software called? What's the
Sales Union?
Sales Union.
Yeah.
And so just give us a brief kind of explanation about it and what it does, what it helps you to do.
So most businesses have a CRM. Most businesses don't have a CRM that makes them money. Right. Like most businesses that have a CRM, and it's a cost in their business because it's just something that they need to actually manage the customer relationships. And generally speaking, they're not doing loads of touch points with clients anyway. So our system functions as a full-on CRM, so we can do all the stuff that any of the big platforms can do, the Zohos and the HubSpots and the Salesforces and stuff like that. But that's where we get most of our clients from. Because with our system, we have unlimited users, unlimited licenses, unlimited contacts. You can have 1 million records import into our system. You're still on the same package that everybody else is on.
Right.
But then when you want to do you can build all your automations into the system for email sequences and SMS sequences or WhatsApp sequences, all back with AI. So the AI can actually do stuff for you as well. It can create content for you to plan all your socials, all in the system, all scheduled out. But then you can even track when people have messaged you through the platform and message them within our platform through Facebook, Instagram and stuff like that. You can build landing pages and funnels and forms and surveys and quizzes. So anything that you are trying to do to build out a sales and marketing strategy is what we implement in the system. And the crucial bit is that it all talks to each other. Okay. And that's the thing that most businesses don't have. And they'll have these little things. They'll have a WordPress site. And then on that WordPress site, they've got a form thing that they've got from somewhere else. But the form doesn't tie into the CRM. So they get an email through going, you've got a lead, but the CRM isn't doing anything with that unless you're manually putting it in. And as soon as you do anything on any sort of scale, that just falls apart. Yeah. Because it creates a job for somebody to just start inputting data to make things talk to each other. Everything that I do, if I go speaking at an event, one thing that I do all the time, and I love showing this people because they're like, wow, that's ridiculous. I'll go to an event or an exhibition or something in our system, build a QR code, the system does it, link it to a landing page that you've got, just linking your domain into our system, put it onto a landing page, set an automation up that anybody fills out this form that's behind this QR code on this landing page. It tags them in the system with whatever you want the tag to be, of whatever the event was or whatever the exhibition was that you're actually exhibiting at. They fill out the form to get the free thing that you're offering them as the lead magnet, and it enables you to collect ridiculous amounts of data. Okay. So like when I go speak at an event, I'll have mobile numbers and email addresses from everybody in the event after the event for me to do any sort of follow-up that I want.
Yeah.
Whereas most people that are speakers or go to exhibitions or whatever, they come away and go, well, how many business cards have we got?
Yeah.
If you're speaking there, you might speak to 3, 4, 5 people. They're usually coming up, like, probably trying to sell you something, in my experience, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But you've got some business cards, you think, oh, there's nothing real. Am I even going to bother? Because I've got so few leads. And it's just, the more data that you collect that you own, the easier marketing becomes.
Yeah.
Because if you've got, if you've got 100 people, let's say email, because everyone understands email. If you've got 100 people on your email list, and you know if you do an email today, it might generate you 1 inquiry, right. But you convert like 1 in 2. You might go, no point sending the email because it generates me 0.5. I'm not going to generate any clients. You get 1,000 people on your list, send the same thing out, and the 1% thing still rings true. Suddenly, you've got like you generate like 10 clients. If you get to 10,000, you're sending 10,000 emails out, and the 1% sort of opt in, you're getting up to 100. And suddenly the volume of what you're doing becomes the thing that is generating the mad results. It's the same amount of work. But people go, I'm not going to do that because it doesn't generate the results. So if you focus on nothing other than making sure that you are collecting more data of your target audience, that is one surefire way that you will do more sales. Because even on the volume that you don't do now because you think you won't get the results that you want, on those same percentages, you will get ridiculous results as soon as you build that list. That's one thing, just collect more data. And that's where if you convert the data from stuff that the traffic that you're paying for to traffic that you own, that becomes your list. If you've got 100,000 people at your ideal target audience, you're doing something ridiculously badly if you're not generating enough sales to make like an email campaign work. And that works with SMS or WhatsApp or whatever as well, and Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. It's just building that audience of the people that are your target audience that need the solutions that you've got. And all you need to do is value. You never need to sell them anything because they identify themselves when they need the result that you can actually deliver.
So one thing that's annoying me at the moment,
which
I've spoken about on LinkedIn quite a bit, is lazy outreach, where I'm on a database somewhere and they're telling me that they can do our SEO better, or they've seen things which is just an automated message, or someone connects with you on LinkedIn and then you automatically selling at you straight away, and that just annoys me.
Yeah.
And so you got to be careful of that, haven't you? If you're doing it on such a mass scale, not to get lazy with the actual the detail behind that.
Yeah, and again, there's complex ways that you can do it so that every single thing is personalised. I would never ever say to anybody, send 1,000 emails out there, all the same email.
Right.
Obviously, you can use custom values and custom fields and stuff to automate everything, to make them super personalised. So let's use an example. Let's say there's is this a business centre? So there's businesses within this business centre, right? Let's say there's 10 businesses in here, and we're putting a campaign together. We could put a campaign together talking solely to businesses that are based in this business centre. And in the email outreach, it would talk about they are based in here and we've got this amazing result. Let's say I work with Manchester SEO and we've made this amazing result. They're in the same building as you in old school house. That seems super, super, super personalised.
Yeah.
Because it is. But it doesn't mean that the work at the front end has meant that it's so time consuming.
No.
It just means that you're being more strategic about what it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Like you could have particular road names that you're trying to target. You'd have a little town, you could have towns that you're actually targeting, but the more personalised it is, the more likely it is to resonate with people. So I agree with you, it has to be personalised, but that's what any sort of strategy I was doing with somebody, it would to make sure that it was personalised, but to highlight the fact that to make it super personalised wasn't a ridiculous amount of more work. If you understand who your target audience are, and you've got a way of building those lists of that target audience, and you've got an amazing result,
right.
The personality of that message doesn't need to be as targeted as it does if you're trying to sell something. Because if you're delivering a result and you know that they're within the age bracket and in the right sector and in the right city that you're targeting, and you do your outreach saying, I've got this amazing result, you can get the result here, it doesn't really matter that you've called them by name.
No.
Because they know that they need the result.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as long as the list is right, you can talk to them because you know that they need the thing. The best thing on, like, if you're going to do sort of one by one and your outreach on LinkedIn, the best thing I find that works is being really personalized with it. So go on somebody's profile, find something that they're interested in, and go into their world about the thing that they're interested in. So instead of just messaging and going, oh, great, like I get them all the time, like, great to connect, I thought we could collaborate on blah, 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 and I look and they're based in Bangladesh or something, I'm like, what are we going to collaborate on?
Yeah.
So if you find someone you think you've got, I have a dream 100 list. I've not got 100 on it at the moment, actually, because I've managed to speak and do stuff with a few of them. But I'll reach out regularly, and I say reach out, I like comment on their posts and do stuff like that. And there's a few of them now that I'm friends with, actually, that I thought they are people that have already compiled the list of people that I need. So I need to get in with those people. So what I would do is I would go onto their profile, I'd find something they're interested in. So it might be a charity that they support, or they might have something to do with Christmas, or they might, like baking or whatever it is. I would screenshot the post that they have put up talking about the thing, send them that screenshot and ask them a question about the thing that they're interested in. Because everybody responds. Like the company I mentioned before, the payroll company that we consulted in for 9 months. I remember. In fact, no, it wasn't. It was a recruitment company, IT recruitment company. Those were the two companies that we had at the same time. And there's a girl that worked there. We were sat in WeWork in Spinning Fields. I was sat with her, and I was like, "How's your outreach and stuff working?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I do quite well. Blah blah blah. And what are things that are working? What are things that aren't working?" She said, "Well, I do quite well from LinkedIn." I'm like, "Okay, well, what sort of stuff do you do that gets you opportunities?" She went, "Well, I do this, I do this." I went, "How many inquiries have you had recently?" She didn't have any, but she liked using LinkedIn. So I'm like, well, this is daft to keep doing what you're doing. She's going to keep getting what you're getting.
Yeah.
So I said, give me an example of someone that you want to work with. So she went into a CRM, found this woman. I think she was called Sarah, this woman. And she worked in IT for this big company. And I said, right, okay, let's look at her profile. So I went down her profile, and she loved that's where baking just came into me, just probably because the brownies are sat there. And this woman, they had a baking thing every Friday in the office. Yeah. Every single Friday, all she posted about every Friday, these are the cakes that I've made. And they look really good, these cakes that this woman was making. So I said, right, let's send her a message about those cakes. And the girl was going, she's like, what? I went, send her a message about those cakes. She went, what am I going to say? I went, right, let's get a screenshot of those cakes, send it and just say, these look amazing. Where'd you get your recipes from?
Yeah.
Right, let's see what happens. Like, honestly, it was like, before we'd even finished, we were together for about an hour. She'd responded going, oh, I find them like online and I do. You could tell that she's really passionate. I went, go back and go. She went, I'm not interested in baking. I'm like, you are now. So I'm like, right. Oh, you know what? I'd love to, I'd love to get better at baking, but I'm not very good. Like, what would you encourage? And she was giving her advice on this stuff. I went, right, tell her next Friday you're going to bring some in. She's like, what? I went, we're going to make some cakes. I'm not making them. You're going to make them. Bring some cakes in, right? So next Friday, I'm actually in the area because I've got a client around the corner that I'm going to see.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring some cakes in for you. I'd love it if you tell me how good they are.
Yeah.
Right? She went in on the Friday, took these cakes in, got to meet her. As she's in there talking to her, the woman went, I see that you're in recruitment. She never mentioned what she did. She went, I see you're in recruitment. She went, yeah. She went, I'm involved in that. Like I recruit for RIT. And she's like, oh, right, no way. That's like, obviously, play dumb that you didn't even know. But then from that, she took that person on as a client. Like, it wasn't like that day, but obviously it was in a few weeks.
Yeah.
They came on, signed terms and all that. And it was because she went into her world trying to build a relationship with the thing that she was interested in. Now, as it turned out, she quite liked the baking, so started doing it and they started talking about it all the time. But anytime that they had a touch point, it was talking about baking. It wasn't talking about recruitment or IT.
Yeah.
And all it was is that lady was posting on social media every single week. The only reason any of us post on social media is because you're looking for some sort of engagement or to make some sort of difference. Nobody was ever commenting or engaging on those posts. So as soon as somebody went, wow, this person's interested in the thing that I'm posting about, I'm passionate about, suddenly it's like, this person's like me. I need to, like, it would be ridiculous for her not to want to build a relationship with the lady that wanted to speak to her about the cakes that nobody else cared about.
Yeah.
So that's the best way. If you're going to do super personalised and you're happy to put the time into going down people's profiles and doing it, literally picture of something. If they put videos on, amazing, 10-minute video, just go to minute 7 and go bang, like as if you've watched 7 minutes of it, because nobody's watching that 10-minute video that you've put on LinkedIn. Like bang, 7 minutes into it, take a quote that they've put in it. That's really powerful. Like, where'd you do whatever? How'd you get this content from? Where? Blah blah blah. Are you speaking at any events coming up? Like, speak to the person about the thing that they are interested in, and suddenly you aren't selling.
Yeah.
It's like the most fragile interaction in sales will always be the first one. So if you can make that a pleasant one, like we said before about the networking example, you can give yourself the opportunity to be able to do some business in the future, but you can also make that like turn it completely off. It's like I always think everyone's got this invisible wall up when it comes to sales. So like when you meet someone at an event, everyone's got this wall up and you're sort of peeking over saying, like, are they trying to sell? And as soon as you're not, that wall just comes down.
Yeah.
And as soon as it's like, oh, I do this and do this and do this, and who is it in your business? They're like, oh, I've got to go. I've got someone else to speak to. Like they don't want to speak to them. Which is like you can just, as long as you make that a pleasant interaction, go into their world or something that you've got either that's in common or something that you're showing a direct interest in. You're much more likely at the back end, which is the bit that we are all concerned about, which is the conversions at the back end. That bit takes care of itself.
Yeah.
If you get this bit wrong at the front end, you never even get in there. And that's why 80% of businesses go out of business in the first 18 months.
Right.
And it's just, they never put the time into building that little bit out. So, anyway, again, long answer to a simple question.
No, it's good. That's why we're here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got podcasts as well?
Yeah.
Who's that for? Yeah, I can guess, but
Yeah. So the podcast called "It's Not What You Sell, It's How You Sell It."
Okay.
So it's on all the major podcast platforms.
Yeah.
But it's targeted at business owners that are involved in the sales process within their business. It's targeted at anybody that's involved in sales. The interesting thing that I found when I was trying to build out the sales training platforms was that salespeople don't want to invest in their own personal development. Generally speaking, they expect their bosses to be doing it for them.
Yeah.
So I found our sweet spot was business owners that were involved in the sales process, but they didn't necessarily think that they were.
Right.
So it's the sort of people that they are doing the thing that they charge for in their business, but if they went on holiday for a month, the business would go under because there's no business coming in.
Yeah.
So the point of our episodes is just they're short, sharp. It's like, this is one big problem that you have got. This is what you can do to solve that problem. And one thing that I'm really passionate about with any training that I do or any events that I speak at or anything that I deliver is that you've got practical takeaways that you can implement immediately that will make a big difference. Like coming from the corporate world on the training side, it would infuriate me. I don't really get infuriated about anything, but I'd spend a week in the office in a training environment going through role plays and scripts and all this type of stuff. And the idea was that when I would be out in the field, door to door, I would say this thing, they would then say this thing. It'd be like, oh, this is going to be so easy. And after a week doing that, you'd go to the field, call one, walk through the door, you say the thing, and they don't say the thing that they were supposed to say. And you're like, what a waste of time. So like that training room type environment does not translate often into the field.
Right.
So one thing I was passionate about when I started to do more of the training and stuff in person and working with teams and groups and even individuals was that anything that I delivered, I wanted to make sure that they could implement something right now and it will make a difference. And obviously, the more that they do that and the more that they innovate on it, the more that they're going to get the results. But I would never want to be somebody that was just going, you could try this, or you could try that, or you could try this, or even worse, do this exact thing, and then it doesn't work. So the interactions that I have with people, either with clients at events or when I'm speaking somewhere, or things that I see other people talking about, I will talk about those things on our show to give people the things that they need to solve those problems that they've got in their business, basically. So yeah, the shorter episodes, and it's usually me talking, and I talk quite fast anyway. I talk even faster when I'm passionate, so it's difficult to speed them up. But 10 minutes I don't think is too bad.
Yeah. Do you think, so quite a few like sales trainers on and people are in sales on the podcast, and the thing that's come out a lot is that it's not so much the people doing the sales that's the issue. It's like you say, the development. It's the people above them. What makes you a good salesman to the point where you get promoted to being a manager of a number of people? Those skills aren't the same. And so training, support, motivation, it doesn't come easy to someone who perhaps are quite selfish characteristics that they have, and they've got self-motivation, don't understand other people, it sounded, well, you're nodding, so you agree.
The world's full of accidental managers. And it's just when you said about they get promoted, like, that's the thing, as being a salesperson that's doing really well and probably earning good commissions and stuff like that. Is that a promotion? Because probably all it means is you're getting more responsibility. You've got to have all these skills that you've probably not already got. You're having less time to do the thing that's making you the money now. And you're probably getting a small pay rise on your salary.
Rather than...
Now for a really good salesperson, that's probably the one that's being considered for the promotion. The salary's probably not the main thing. It's probably the commissions that they're earning. So it's like, so
It's a funny kind of.
It is, yeah. And obviously it's a tough one for businesses, but it's the thing that the business is looking for should be different. It shouldn't be they've smashed loads and loads of sales, so now we need someone to be able to manage loads of people. They should be bringing somebody in and going, and then the person that's being brought in, because they're the person that is the man manager and the person that can hold people accountable and all that type of stuff, they can lean on the person that's doing really, really well to say, look, they're doing this, they're doing that. For me, when we used to consult in those businesses, the first thing that we would do is have one-to-ones with people, find out what it was that they wanted to achieve in their lives, like first and foremost, because nobody cares about the KPIs. But most businesses have these complex KPIs about calls and numbers and meetings booked and leads and new clients and all the things that they've got in there. Most salespeople, and do you know what? I've not got data to go, this is most salespeople is in terms of 88% or whatever, but most salespeople would not know what their KPIs were even 10 minutes after having gone through your boss, because they don't care about them. So when we'd sit down with the sales team, one by one, I'd say, what is it you're trying to achieve? Where are you going to be in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years? Some of them might have it mapped out, okay? And it's usually women rather than men, being honest. When we've dealt with, go, I want to be here and I want to do this because I've got more of a life plan, whereas men a lot of the time, especially in sales, are just sort of living by the day.
Sure.
And what we would do is we'd say, well, if we had to lean on them a bit, we'd be like, well, are you happy with the car that you drive? And they might be, no, what? I want, okay, what car do you want? And we're writing down, oh, Range Rover. Great, when do you want the Range Rover? Well, I want it today. I'm like, can you get it today? No? Okay. When do you think conceivably you could have it? And we'd start to put a plan together. Where do you want to live? Are you happy with the house? Are you living at home? Have you got a flat? Are you trying to buy a house? Map everything out. How many holidays are you going on a year? How many would you like to go on? Is there any you want to go that you've not been? Have you got kids? What are their aspirations? So map out what it is that they want to do and go, right, we've mapped out a life here that you want to have. You want to buy that house. You want to drive that car. You want to have this many holidays a year. How much do you think you need to be earning a year to be able to live that life? But then it becomes real. They're like, well, I'm earning whatever, 50 grand a year now for ease of maths. To get that, I'd probably need to be doing 100. I'm like, great. What do you think you'd need to do in terms of actions to get from 50 to 100? They'll always say the same thing. I have to double my activity. But then they think, I'm not going to be able to double because I'm already working hard. I'm like, I can see why you'd think that. But no. All we need to do is do more of the stuff that's working and stop doing the stuff that's not working. Because everybody has got loads of time. There's loads of... everyone's got loads of time, but everyone thinks they've got no time.
Yeah.
Start doing the things that work, do more of that, and start doing less of the things that don't work. And what happens is, in the sales team, what we would do is we would hold the people accountable to the life that they wanted to live, not the KPIs. Okay. So let's say it was... So in that recruitment company, because we were talking about that before, the IT recruitment company, there was this, I think it was called Odro, and it was like a video platform. There'll be other ones now, I'm sure, on LinkedIn to send personalised videos on LinkedIn. Okay. And they got good success with it, the ones that were using it. And it was the big subscription, and the company was paying for it and all that. So one of the things would be, well, how many Odro videos are you doing? Like, what is your conversion? And as an example, there was one lady, and she was doing, it was like, I'm doing about 20. I'm like, okay, so how many videos do you think you can do this week? She was like, I'm going to do 40. I'm like, you've only done 20 in the past. It's like, yeah, I can definitely do 40. I'm like, amazing. So in the team meeting, I'm like, right, we're going to drive the Range Rover in 12 months. Where are you up to driving the Range Rover? And she would know that the Range Rover was down to her actions. She said, well, I've done 20 Odro videos this week. I'm like, okay, to drive the Range Rover in 12 months, you said you'd need to do 40. So should we put it back another year, or should we downgrade it, get you an A6 or something? They'd go, no, I want the Range Rover. I'm like, okay, great. What are you going to do this week? They go, I'm going to do my 40. I'm like, what about, you only did 20 last week though? And they will go, I'll do 60 then. I'm like, are you going to do 60? It's your Range Rover, not mine. I don't care whether you get the Range Rover or not. Do you want to put it back, or do you want to change the car? No, I want it. So what are you going to do? 60. Are you sure? Yeah, because I want to write it down, I'm going to hold you accountable to it. Yeah, amazing. So the next meeting, I'm like, how did you get on with your Range Rover? And they go, I did 56, but I've got blah, 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 or they've gone over it, depending on what the activity was. But what starts to happen really quickly is that the team start to hold themselves accountable to each other's lives that they want to have, and they start to share what it is that they're doing that's working. So the people not using the video software suddenly go, wait a minute, Ashley's getting closer to a Range Rover because she's using the video software. All I'm doing is email, I'm doing some cold calling. I'm going to start doing a bit of that. And there was in the team meetings, all that happened was we weren't saying anything. They were talking about the actions that they were taking that was getting them closer to the life that they wanted to live. Now, I mentioned the girl Ashley there. There's a girl called Ashley. And one of the things that she said was that she wanted to run her own business as one of her goals, right? And I went to the sales director after one of the one-to-ones and I said, listen, just to let you know, this is what we've mapped out and these are what they want to do. I went, Ashley wants to set up on her own. And he went, oh, you're joking, she's good as well. We're going to have to get rid of her, aren't we? I was like, no. He's like, what do you mean? She's going to set up her own? I'm like, mate, she's not in a position in her life now to set up her own anyway. What we're going to do is help her on her journey to get what she wants to set up on her own, because that's going to earn you ridiculous amounts anyway. Plus, if she ends up doing it and then leaves, what do you think she's going to say to other people about you? And what you could say about you about a business? Look at the flip side. If you get rid of her now, what's the view going to be of people that she knows the industry about you? Now, with her, it got to the point where she smashed it, this girl, and it got to the point where she was earning that much money that she didn't want the headache of setting up her own anyway. So at the point when they exited, she was like, I'm going to stay in the business, doing what I'm doing anyway. But if you don't know what it is that if you're looking at a sales manager point of view, if you do not know what your sales people are trying to achieve, like, you're not doing your job. And how can you hold them accountable to anything if you're not taking an interest in what it is that they want? So that's the first thing that we did when we'd go in and we'd do. And if I was doing it now, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be going in sales teams and I'd be saying to them, what is it you're trying to achieve? And I would hold them accountable to their goals, because nobody will ever not do the activity or admit to not doing the activity to give them the life that they say they want to have. All that will happen, especially if you've got say you've got a team around 10, 20, whatever, 10% roughly, from our experience in that, within a few weeks will identify themselves as people that aren't great for the business because they've got no drive or determination or goals that they're trying to hit. And it's very difficult to hold someone accountable to KPIs anyway. It's even more difficult to hold someone accountable to something that they don't really care about. Someone that's just living at home, happy living at home because they don't like cooking, or they never want to move out. It's like, they're never going to have the drive or determination to hit the figures that you want them to be hitting.
Sure.
And what happens really quickly is that the figures that they start to do because you hold them accountable to the life they want to have is usually more than what you were trying to get them to do but couldn't get them to do when you're holding them accountable to a KPI. So that's the way I would look at it from a sort of sales training point of view.
There's a basketball player, a retired basketball player called John Amici. You'll know him. He grew up in Manchester.
Stockport,
yeah. And he, there's in his book, it talks about. I read this 25 years ago, probably. Talks about being in the kitchen table with his mum, and she's saying, "What do you want to do?" And he's like, "Well, I want to be a basketball player." And then they mapped out then what they needed to do, and what they needed to do is to move to America. And they moved to America, and he had this life because they built out from what they wanted to achieve, or how do we get there? His view is that all successful people do that.
Yeah, that's it. Someone I'm really close to, he always says there's no such thing as successful people, there's only successful habits.
Right.
It's like if you build those habits into what you're doing, you're maximising the chances that you're going to get where you want.
There's a clip. Clip that one. We could talk like all day, I think. There's a lot to go on about. But I feel like we've probably coming to an end with that. Do you have any... do you think there's any challenges moving forward for you in the future, sales and or the industry? Let's say about the industry. Do you think there's any challenges in the future for the sales industry?
I don't know. I suppose the biggest thing that people may think is a challenge is just the whole AI being around. Like, people say AI is taking people's jobs and it's going to replace businesses and stuff. AI will not replace businesses. AI itself will not do anything. What will happen is businesses that implement AI will replace businesses that choose not to implement AI, which is why everything within our business is stacked with like AI tools to automate things that are going on, to make it simple and to take the manual process out of it.
Right.
But that's the biggest thing that most people would think is some sort of challenge. Sales is a very, very broad thing, and it's like every business is very different, but there's an element of sales within it. It's if you adopt or adapt to the things that are going to help to make your life much more simple, free up your time and help to maximize the conversions that you get into the back end, you're going to secure yourself, whether you're in a business, whether you're running a business, whether you're a sales manager, business development manager, sales director, whatever it is. That's a way to future-proof, I suppose, is a...
It's using it well, isn't it? I think there's a lot of... if you go back to recruitment, I think I got into it a few years after email was used by them, because originally it was all you'd print out a CV and send it in the post. But it's the companies that then use the new technology in the right way and the best way, and with that data, use that to understand better, that actually did really well.
Yeah.
See, I think we're coming to another point with AI where that's the same thing. Or it's people that use it the best.
Yeah.
That will.
There's a big there's a company called the Power Hive, and they run recruitment events. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No.
And they've got some like 260 recruitment companies on this platform, and they run in-person events. So we're one of the partners with the Power Hive, because the guy that runs it has exited a couple of businesses, like he's retired a couple of times and got bored, and he's just passionate about helping people running recruitment businesses to make life easier. And when he's seen our system, he's like, I could quote him on it and ask him about it. He says it's the most powerful thing that he has seen to scale a recruitment business quickly. Okay. Now on the recruitment side, a lot of recruiters use a CRM like Bullhorn or a Vincherry and stuff like that, which you might be familiar with. Because they've got certain functionality for recruiters. Now we've got lots of recruitment clients. That's why I say recruitment. We've got some that use those recruitment platforms because they use the CV functionality and all that type of stuff. Yeah. But what they do is use our system as the lead generation. So all their outreach is done in our system. And at the point when they generate either a call or a meeting or get someone booked on to visit the thing that they're putting on, they would then they've generated the lead and they put that into their CRM. Right. So they do all their outreach in our system and then move it then into their CRM. But again, the ones that are automating a lot of those steps in a recruitment industry, which is very, very, like there's loads of people that aren't very good at recruitment, which gives it a really bad name. Yeah. You should prefer the worst way to turn someone off at a party. Where he's like, yeah, I'm in recruitment, because you think he's like the scum of the earth. Or sales, just leave it in sales. They don't get any worse. It's just that, I suppose if you think about where you think your industry is going, in whatever it is that world that you are in, just think about what are the things that you can do to actually make it more likely that in the future you're going to achieve success from putting those foundations in place rather than putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And with most things, the more that you put off making that change that you think is really important, the more time consuming, the more difficult, the more costly that it's going to be. Yeah. I was speaking to a guy this morning, literally I was in the car park waiting outside, and he was saying he's started the process of in his CRM, like tagging and segmenting his data in a certain way, but he's been meaning to do it for like 2 years. I'm like, the best time to do anything would always have been yesterday, but the next best time is always today. Yeah. But it's like, if you had waited another year or even another month, another 3 months, another year, it suddenly gets to the point where it's like, this is too much of a beast to actually do anything with, and you end up, you've like created a monster where you're like, I can't do anything with this. Yeah. So you're much better off going, even if it's not great now, go, what are things we can do right now to make it better from the future, rather than just going, that's just the way it is. We need to just stick at it.
Amazing. Right. Okay. We'll stop there. Thanks so much for your time and coming in today.
Thanks for having me on.
The ice and the snow and all that. Although it was me that was a bit late. Sorry about that. If people want to find out more about the sales software, where would they go to?
So I can give you a link to put into the podcast, or it's just sales-union.co.uk. I post on LinkedIn every day. We're talking about getting into the habit of doing it and stuff. But I've done that for over a year now. Yeah. Again, I've got a podcast on my podcast as well, I suppose, in another place. Yeah. So that's called It's Not What You Sell, It's How You Sell It. But yeah, LinkedIn is the sort of the best place. But I can give you a link to actually I can generate some free leads for anyone that's listening if they want. So I'll give you that link. They can book onto my calendar and I'll generate some free leads.
Amazing. Well, we'll put that on the description Cool.